We have three pretty special speakers this afternoon. Our very first speaker is our Chief Customer Officer, who's also a co-founder of Alteryx way back in 1997, Libby Dwayne Adams. So she'll be our very first speaker. Our second speaker today is a gentleman from one of our customers, JLL, Mr. Gary Britton, and we'll be talking about his journey with Alteryx and obviously the JLL Corporation's journey through Alteryx also. And our final speaker is our chief data nerd in residence here in Australia, Kane Glendenning. He's our chief architect and all-round guru when it comes to our product. So without keeping waiting any longer, let's get ready to rumble. Please welcome Libby Dwayne Adams.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to look at the guy in the back. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, there we go. How's everybody doing today? Great. Yeah? Who had to travel the farthest to get here? All right, I'm going to raise my hand. Is there anyone else from, let's say, California? New York? Okay, I think I win. Well, thank you all very much for being here this afternoon and spending your afternoon with us. As you can tell, we are here at Alteryx very passionate about talking about analytics. And in the work that I do, it's a privilege to be able to meet with customers around the world and talk about and understand more about their analytics journey, the analytics culture that they're building in their organizations, and how analytics is helping to transform their organizations as they're moving forward into this modern world that we're all getting to be a part of. I'm going to chat with you today about some things that we're seeing around analytics, and the conversation that I'm going to have today is going to come to you from a global perspective. As I am privileged to get to travel the world, it is amazing to me to hear the similarity of challenges that people have, whether I'm in New York or Saudi Arabia or Germany or Sao Paulo, Brazil, or here in beautiful Australia. I've spent this week with our team in Brisbane, Melbourne, and here in Sydney. So before I get started, there's a little bit of homework that you all have to take on. So you're all going to digest this statement, and we're going to have a quiz at the networking hour. So I know that you haven't been drinking yet, so make sure you're ready for that test. Okay, we're moving on. Remember those days when the teachers in grade school would do that to us? But as I mentioned, as I get to travel around the world, I am continually awestruck by the technologies and the advancements that we as human beings have made. When you think about the kinds of technologies that we have, from smartphones to Fitbits to double-decker airplanes, I don't know about you guys, but when I walk onto the double-decker airplane and I see how big it is, I'm thinking to myself, how is this thing gonna, first of all, get off the ground? Second of all, stay in the sky? But they do. Amazing technology, and it's really social, mobile, everything, everywhere. Think about the data that we all generate every day. It's doubling every 2 years. Data is doubling in size around the world every 2 years. And it's pretty safe to say that our future is as daunting as it is bright. And it's going to require continuous analytic breakthroughs if we're going to continue to see success. Potential advancements in facial recognition software are going to usher in an age of machines that are really functioning and controlled by simple gestures and our eye movements. Non-porous fabrics, miniaturized electronics, and haptic feedback from smart clothing are going to create more behavioral information than any of us ever imagined. And all of this is going to make data analytics, predictive modeling, ML and AI come of age. And most everything in our lives will become disappointingly predictable. Not a bad thing in some cases, I'm going to guess. And when we're all successful, not if, but when, the future is going to generate more data, it's going to generate more questions, and it's going to require more analytics than we ever thought possible. No pressure for anybody in the room, right? You ready for this? Ready for these challenges as the data keeps growing? But again, I'll say it's no surprise because a lot of you, or most of you in this room, are probably living this today. Data and data science are the two key building blocks for digital transformation. And it's clear that analytics is a global opportunity for every company and every department in every company that has a need for ingesting disparate content and performing complex analytic processes against those data are going to drive and are driving the $10 to $15 trillion in business value that's locked up in those data within your companies and within all of the data assets around the world. $10 to $15 trillion opportunity that we all get to influence and be able to take advantage of. But for many organizations, unifying the analytics agenda in order to drive that digital transformation is going to be a challenge. More often than not, we're finding that analytic teams are starting from a disadvantaged position, attempting to innovate with legacy holdovers of analytic processes, legacy technology, and legacy team alignments. We know from our customers' experience around the world that there has to be a better way. It's about being able to harness the networking effect of data, people, and technologies that are going to pave the way to create a sustainable cycle of analytic innovation that's going to drive that continued business value. Yet many organizations that I get to speak to are still struggling with this, and it can clearly be seen in the simple fact that there are fundamental issues that are plaguing analytic teams today. And let's talk about what some of those are. The IDC study that Alteryx was a part of was actually just released. And this study for us was focused on not only who is performing analytics, but what's working in their processes and what's not working, and what is it when it's not working that we could potentially influence. And I'll walk you through a bit more about the results, the patterns that emerged, and some of the analytics on the analytics study. So we're an analytics company, we're geeks, what do you expect? So when you think about the survey, these survey results, there was approximately 54 million data workers worldwide. That's a huge number. It's actually twice the population of this beautiful country of Australia. Of all of the people that are working for insights, they're trying to better understand the business data. Those data workers, those knowledge workers are trying to take advantage of those data assets. 54 million data workers represent about 25% of all knowledge workers. It does make me wonder at times, what are the other 75% doing if they're not looking at data? But that likely shows kind of the geek in me as part of the analytics team at Alteryx. That being said, it's not the size of this number that's really the interesting part. The more interesting part is that all of these people are doing data work for so much of the day, you would think that they would be getting greater success. But here's the rub. Here's the challenge that every one of them is facing. Data workers spend about 90% of their work week on data-related activities. This is obviously a staggering number, and it's more than I expected data workers to say that they were doing in their average week. But what are they doing during this time? Probably relates to what a lot of you are doing. You're spending your time searching for, preparing, and analyzing data. Some of you are going to that next step in developing an analytic application of some sort. The survey actually showed that business users spend more time in prepping data than any of these other roles. And so that is right there, part of that challenge I spoke about earlier in terms of building that analytics culture. 44% of data workers, their time is being wasted. Imagine, just think about your day or your work week. if almost half of your day or half of your week was wasted, people are struggling to quickly and easily search, prepare, and analyze their data, and are outright failing about half the time. This just shouldn't be. It's challenging though, because as a business leader, I think about the inefficiencies that this is generating for every organization. How many data workers does your organization have? And imagine that if 16 hours per week per data worker is wasted. Think about that. That's 2 days out of 5 if you're working that standard 8-hour day. Imagine if we could do something to help. We want to improve that success rate, to improve those outcomes, and to speed up the process. And so what's driving this wasted time and those failed results? I'm sure many of you can recognize these issues. You probably feel some of this yourself in your day-to-day work. You're spending too much time wrestling with data and trying to get that data into the forms and the structure that you need to do the analytics. Tools that take too long to learn and frequently are not set up for a self-service environment. They're requiring data workers to have to submit those requests off to other teams to fulfill. So the control is now being moved away from that analyst who's closest to the business, closest to the question, closest to being able to solve that problem, has now passed that ball. And it's a slow and arduous process to be able to find insights out of those data as well. And so when you calculate the inefficiencies across a company, when you look at every department in your organization with data workers, those data workers in every department are struggling to find data, prepare it, define, and build the right analytics. Every department in an organization, in the companies that you work with, are all working to get to analytic results. Multiply that times the teams within each of these departments, and you begin to see the inefficiencies that we're all living with. And that's what we want to try to solve for, is how do we make all of these teams and others, because you all have other departments in your organization, how do we make them more effective, more efficient at what they do? The most significant issues that analytics has to overcome is that we are bringing data in from 6 or more different inputs and pushing results out to 7 different formats. How many of you, quick show of hands, can get your analytic projects done with one source of data? Exactly. How many of you are, on average, are in the range of about 5 to 7 inputs, incoming sources for your analytic projects? You can raise your hands higher because you're in a safe zone here. That is exactly what we're seeing, is these challenges are, you require more data, and you're doing it the right way. There is nothing wrong with needing 5 or 10 or 30 or more sources of data, because that's the right way to think about analytics. What we found from this survey, and all of you can relate to this, is that you have to incorporate data from your ERP, from your CRM systems, from Excel files, from data from the web, data that's getting emailed to you, you're getting files emailed to you, because they need to be analyzed, they need to be part of the process. And then the outputs vary from spreadsheets to CSVs, from PowerPoint files to back to emails, dashboards, and certainly out to predictive analytics. And so it's all of these varying inputs going out to various output formats that are making this really a ripe opportunity for all of us in this analytics space. But to make it even more challenging, depending on the type of data and the analysis, different tools are needed to execute the analysis. So a couple of quick examples. If I have a geospatial requirement, and I'm looking at my friends here from JLL in the amazing global real estate industry, a lot of their work is geographically based. You need a different tool. If I have time series modeling to perform, let me go grab this tool over here, yet another tool. If I'm trying to do analysis on millions of rows of data, oh wait, let me run over here and get this tool or write some code. And so it's really about how many tools can you all become expert in and really solid in. And so when the typical analyst is having to learn and use 4 to 7 different analytic tools to perform their data discovery, how challenging does that get and how inefficient is that for the organization? And that's really the challenge. It's not about how many tools can I master, it's about how do I deliver efficiently for the organization. So we're going to talk now about a technology that actually is solving these problems globally for customers. Alteryx is really about us differentiating ourselves from many of the other tools being used today. If you look at this chart across the top in the blue box where we start off on the left with data cataloging, data blending, execute the full analytic process without having to jump in and out of tools, without having to master multiple tools to be able to get through that analytic process. And back to the IBC study, we see that Alteryx users are having significantly more success. And it's really about how do you find your data more easily, how do you perform those advanced analytics, and be able to develop prescriptive solutions and full applications on the platform with over 20% more success than the users of other tools. That's really what this is about, is increasing your efficiency and your effectiveness, therefore increasing the value to you and the organization. Everyone talks about the talent gap. Oh, we don't have the skills to be able to do that. We don't have the knowledge to be able to do that. We're actually seeing companies leverage their own internal talent because it's not about identifying certain or specific technical skills. It's about looking at your analysts who know the business, who know what questions to ask, who know what data assets exist or could potentially exist, who are growth-driven and problem solvers. That's really what we're here to talk about, is what does the modern analytics and data science journey look like to enable companies to be able to drive, thrive, and remain competitive, be able to grow. And that's really what this is about, is taking all of the skills that all of you have, all of the skills that you're leading across your teams within your companies, and leveling up all of you and leveling up your teams to be able to solve for that next generation as data continues to grow. Let's talk now a little bit more about the modern analytics journey. The first step is really about answering questions that are being asked by the business while accessing any and all sources of data to deliver those insights. It's never being afraid to say that this analytic process is going to require 5 inputs or 15 inputs or 50 inputs of data. You should see some of the workflows that I've seen and the numbers of inputs. In fact, I heard somebody just this week talking about a workflow that they built with 80 input files. And those are examples of the sizes of data. That's what we want to solve for. That's what we want to be able to enable. So don't ever be limited by multiple and disparate data sources again. We have to be able to empower the business analyst with those data assets from anywhere, whether it's in the cloud, on-prem, on the hard drive. We have to be able to create insights and easily share and repeat those needed work processes and workflows across the organization. And as your modern analytics journey continues, you're ready to really take on those harder questions. You're going to be able to advance your skills and unleash advanced analytics with predictive modeling. It's taking that next step. It's building that career path for yourself. And so as a citizen data scientist, you can now build models in a code-free environment using Alteryx. You're able to take advantage of the pre-configured predictive icons within Alteryx Designer. And Kane is actually going to show us a real-world example of that today with the assisted modeling capabilities inside of Alteryx that will seamlessly move you from data prep and descriptive analytics right into predictive business outcomes. And by the way, who in the room is an R or a Python coder? Quick show of hands if you've got those skills. There's a number of you in the room. Good. Let me just say, all of you are included very much in this conversation. You are able to bring your work directly into your Alteryx workflow to enable those advanced analytics with transparency. So don't be bashful about the models that you've already written. Those are welcome to come right into Alteryx Designer and be part of that workflow development and design. And then as you continue this journey and continue to build your skills and build your career path, as a data scientist, you're able to now instantly promote models into production with efficiency and speed to use. You're able to monitor how productionized models are performing while tracking prediction success and being able to iterate as the business continues to change off the success of those models. With Promote, you're able to train and retrain those models to make sure they're staying current for the business. And as you're continuing to advance your skills, you're also defining your own career path. Really, you're being part of the solution as you're continuing to build for talent and skills so that no one in your organization can say, we have a talent gap or a skills gap within our company. With the Alteryx community at community.alteryx.com, you're able to build and strengthen your own analytic skills. You're able to learn from others who are solving just like you are, and you're also able to share what you know with others so they can learn from you. And I'll say that the Alteryx community is open to everyone. It's a free platform. You just register. You don't have to be a customer, but you'll be able to talk to other analytic, like-minded people. They'll share their ideas, their best practices, and then you can share yours as well back with them. It's a great platform for learning, and there's great information and great insights. It's a very friendly and open community. The other component on Academy, or on Community, is our Academy. There's curriculum that's posted that'll allow you to think about your analytic skills and advance your capabilities, advance your talent. And the best part about it is as you go through the Academy, you can actually get Alteryx certified. We have 2 certifications that are available for free, the core certification and the advanced certification. You take those, they're open book, quote unquote, open book tests. But as you take those certification exams, and you can take them as many times as you need to, you're going to see yourself advancing in your skills. And as you're building your skills, you're also defining your own career path. And I can guarantee you that once you tell one of your managers that you're Alteryx certified, the questions that are going to come to you to solve for are going to get harder. That means they're going to drive greater value for the organization. So take on those opportunities to learn more and advance your skills, and then be able to show off what you're able to do. It'll pay off in spades for you as you continue to advance. And as your modern analytics journey continues to advance, you're ready to scale these capabilities across the organization. It also allows you to access potentially data assets across the organization. And so with the Alteryx platform, you're able to discover those data assets that will enrich your analytics. And so when you think about data cataloging, it's that ability to understand what data are available and then what data can you use. And with the cataloging capabilities of the Alteryx platform, you're able to discover those data assets. You're able to learn more and understand more about those newly discovered assets and seeing data relationships and lineage on those data so you can understand more about them. And the best part about it that I love is the collaborative capabilities. So I'm going to use Fiona as my example in this. If Fiona and I work for the same company and I'm based in California and Fiona's based in the Sydney office of my company. How do we work together even though we've never met? This allows us to actually now start collaborating on something we have in common, which is analytics. And so it's that ability for me to see what data is available, understand that those data are available for me to use, but I also get to collaborate with my peers, like Fiona in this case, because I can see that she's posted information about a couple of data assets that I could use in my workflow. I can share and communicate more of my questions with her, and she's able to answer them right here in this environment. And I always use Amazon as the example as I talk about collaboration. How many of you shop on Amazon? I'll just share with you, there were more people in Melbourne yesterday who shopped on Amazon than here in Sydney. So I'm one of those Amazon shoppers, and my husband and I actually have this big dog at home who's got an attitude. So when I buy him toys, I can't just buy him, those cute little fluffy bear toys, because he'll rip them right to shreds. So I went on Amazon and I started Googling on Amazon, started searching for toys that would be good for tough dogs. Get a bunch of recommendations. What do I start doing? I start reading the reviews. Reading reviews from complete strangers I've never met before in my life, and I probably will never meet in my life. But do I listen to them? Yes. Do the toys work the way they say they're going to work? Yes. That's the beauty of this, is you're now collaborating with your peers, some of them who you've never met, some of them who you have met, but they're giving you their fair, unbiased opinion of what the data is or isn't. And so that's the beauty of this, is that ability to discover, understand, and collaborate with your peers and share those data assets and improve the analytic process. So it's really now you're ready for sharing your analytics. You're able to scale the process across your team and also across the company. With automation, you're able to remove those mundane processes or those manual processes from your day, or processes you might have to do every week or every month. And you get that time back to focus on those harder questions coming from your leaders. And lastly, you're able to govern those analytics. As business improves, so will that analytic talent, and you're able to govern that and see and measure those improvements across the enterprise. And you've now are on the path to building a culture of analytics across your company. You're able to ensure that analytics are empowering for the insights that are responsible to drive the organization. And your vision for digital transformation is on a path to success and will only continue to grow across the organization. And so for this afternoon, at Alteryx, this is really what our mission is all about. It's to break down those barriers, change the analytic process, empower analysts to be more successful, and enable success on your modern analytics journey. And in the end, it's really about delivering business value that can make companies more competitive and make people more productive. I hope that you found this informative and useful, and as we all continue to work to make the lives of the data worker more efficient, more successful, and in the end, just more fun. At Alteryx, we love to see people having that thrill of solving, when it's all just about work, it's really not that much fun. Let's make sure we're having fun and creating the business value to drive the organization forward. So thank you very much for your time on this. And it's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage a customer who's been using Alteryx for now about 3 years. And you're going to now have the chance for that real world scenario of what this organization is experiencing as they continue to build their digital transformation and analytics journey. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the Director of Business Intelligence and Business Analytics at JLL, Mr. Gary Britton.